Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome once again to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, the YouTube channel, and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, ringsidenews.com. A little bit of breaking news going on right now. CM Punk has apparently walked out on WWE and is finished with the company, despite the fact that his contract does not expire until the summer. Got a lot of questions here regarding CM Punk, and since this is an ongoing breaking news story, things will change, new information will come out. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the latest details regarding CM Punk and WWE. But for now, let's get to the questions you have here. First one today comes from Jazz423. Hey Aaron, is it true that CM Punk is leaving WWE? Or is this just part of a major storyline? If he's leaving, I may never watch wrestling again. Well, that remains to be seen if you're going to watch wrestling again or not. But as far as this being a work, there's no indication at this point that this is part of a storyline. I would be very surprised if WWE was making this a storyline where CM Punk is quitting and then he ends up coming back. I mean, right now we don't know what exactly is going down, if he's really gone or not. All we know is that on Raw this past Monday, he told Vince McMahon that he was going home and he left. He wasn't at Raw. People didn't think too much of it. Nothing broke on Monday night that he was gone, but then he didn't appear at SmackDown either, and then late Tuesday night the word finally got out that he had left. So it's very bizarre how this whole thing went down, but yeah, I do not think that this is a storyline at this point, and CM Punk is a guy who has been known to express himself and speak his mind, and he lets people know if he's frustrated with something. So I find it hard to believe that he would be working people, but it is professional wrestling after all, and anything is possible. Next question here comes from Bucci9. I'm sure you'll get 100 questions on this, you're right about that, but your thoughts on CM Punk walking out. Do you think he is being overdramatic or just over part-time wrestlers taking his spots, such as dropping the belt last year to The Rock and now seeing Batista headline WrestleMania? Well, clearly it's not a money issue with CM Punk. If he is really walking out, it's definitely interesting that he would choose to walk out right before WrestleMania, when he will be getting a huge payday and be a part of the biggest show of the year in a marquee match. So for him to walk out before WrestleMania, not stick it out, that just goes to show you right there it's not about the money. There's a report that he had spoken at this past weekend that publicly he said he was unhappy about Batista coming back and being in the WrestleMania 30 main event rather than Daniel Bryan. And that very well could play into this whole thing. CM Punk maybe is fed up with the fact that the part-timers are coming back and taking the spotlight. And, with The Rock, I think it was a different story because CM Punk was making a lot of money because of The Rock coming back, and CM Punk and The Rock was a huge match for the Rumble. No doubt CM Punk got a huge payday for that. And when The Rock came back, the numbers were very high, and records were broken. So, I mean, The Rock was great for business, and when WWE business does well, everybody makes money. But, there's so many times that this can happen until people get frustrated, and you can totally understand where CM Punk is coming from. And if Daniel Bryan is frustrated about his spot, you can totally understand it, because these are guys that have been working just about the entire calendar year, nonstop the entire year, busting their asses every night, putting their bodies on the line. And then these guys from the past just come back, get a huge paycheck, and they get the main event spot at WrestleMania. So, I can understand it both ways. I'm not saying he's over dramatic, but everybody has a breaking point, and I guess CM Punk hit it. Just going back to earlier, I'm surprised that if this is all legit and everything, that he would walk out before WrestleMania and not just stick out the rest of his contract. So he had to be really frustrated for him to leave abruptly like this. All right, this next question comes from MMA Mike Zero. So it seems CM Punk has left the WWE. Whether this is real or just a fix for WrestleMania, how do you see it affecting the company And is this just another sign that WWE should give the 24/7 guys a better booking, knowing the part-timers won't be around forever? As far as it affecting the company, I honestly don't see any major changes. WWE is going to continue on with or without CM Punk, and they will continue to be a successful business. Maybe we'll see some kind of change at some point, but I don't expect a lot. I don't expect any kind of major change. I've talked about this in other videos, whether you like Batista or whether you hate him, the guy is a huge superstar and he moves the numbers. And WWE is always going to try and do whatever they can to make WrestleMania the biggest show possible. And if that means bringing back past stars and putting them in marquee matches, that's what they're going to do. And I don't think anything is going to change. It's going to come down to the numbers. WWE looks at the numbers, and that's how they make their decisions. So, I really do feel that they should focus on the younger talent as much as possible. And at WrestleMania, a guy like Daniel Bryan should be able to have a breakout performance, because I think it's good for business. You have a lot of people watching WrestleMania that don't normally watch the WWE product, and when it's all over, those people should be wowed by the new superstar. They should see it and say, hey, you know what, this guy was really awesome. I think I'm going to keep watching the show. I think that WWE should do more for those guys that are around 24/7, but at the same time, they got to do what they feel is best for business and is going to generate the most income. All right, let's move on here a little bit. This one comes from Jeroen Inc. When fans talk about Daniel Bryan, they always talk about his technique or popularity. But what about his mic skills? Because I feel he is really good on the mic. I agree with you. I wouldn't say he's one of the best in the business on the mic, compared to Ric Flair or The Rock. He's not at that top tier level, but Daniel Bryan is still a really good talker, and he goes out there. He never fumbles his lines. He always says it properly, and he's well spoken. And I think he's very good. So, when you look at all the attributes, Daniel Bryan is a 9 or 10 at everything except for size. I mean, that's the one thing that he doesn't have going for him is, he's a short guy. But besides that, he has every quality that is needed to be a main event superstar. All right, this one comes from Gravy Sticks. Could you ask people to boycott John Cena and Randy Orton angles and matches? Fans at the event should all make a bathroom break out of their stage time. When their match angle is done, they can come back. Let's see how long WWE can ignore filming empty seats. I've actually seen some people suggest this idea that, like, if John Cena comes out for a segment, all the fans that are shown on the hard camera in that front section, they all get up and leave. I've never seen that happen. I don't know if it ever will happen. You have to keep in mind that a lot of those fans are paying good money for those seats, and it's going to be hard to convince them to get up and walk away, for an event that they paid for, even if it's just one segment. Convincing, that's probably a couple hundred people that fill those seats in front of the hard camera. Convincing that many people to walk away at the same time would be extremely difficult, I think. And I don't see that happening unless it's like an event in a super hardcore city, like maybe Toronto or New York, Chicago, one of those cities, a major pay-per-view. Maybe you could get enough fans together and convince them as a unit to do that. That would be something else if they could pull that off, but I think the chances of it are unlikely. All right, this next one comes from Kayfabe Candy S. During the Attitude Era, it seemed like 80% of the fans brought signs to Raw. Why doesn't this happen now? Not even that many, but it seems like less than 20% of fans actually bring signs to the show. Well, during the Attitude Era, WWE actually encouraged fans to bring signs. Vince McMahon would blatantly say on television, "Bring your signs, bring your banners. We believe in freedom of expression." WWE supported the idea, and it became a movement. The fan signs became part of the show. and it just gradually faded out. And WWE went back to their old ways of confiscating signs, and because of that, fans are less inclined to bring signs to the events now, and they're less motivated knowing that there's a good chance it'll get confiscated if it's something that WWE doesn't approve of. All right, one more question here from WWE fan Dark Arrow. Hey Aaron, will Roman Reigns, or not Roman Reigns, I'm assuming you mean Seth Rollins, will Seth Rollins' botch hurt his momentum? A botch killed Kofi Kingston's push, and don't even get me started on Scott Steiner. I assume you're talking about Seth Rollins and the botch on Raw where he slipped while going over the barricade and fell on his ass. Honestly, I didn't even notice it until I was reading the Raw results, and I saw the tweets about the botch, and I actually had to pay attention to it because the camera cut away, and I think it was something that perhaps a lot of people missed. I don't think it's going to have any negative effect on Seth Rollins' career. I mean, I think people will largely forget about it, and it was just, it happens. People trip when they get into the ring. Now, Ultimo Dragon, when it happened to him, that was a big deal, but that was also WrestleMania, and Ultimo Dragon wasn't getting the kind of push that Seth Rollins and The Shield are getting. All right, that'll do it for this edition of NoDQ&A video. As I mentioned at the beginning, stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the latest details regarding CM Punk and what's going on with him. Subscribe if you haven't already, youtube.com/NoDQCAW. Tell a friend on Facebook or Twitter. Share this video on those sites. And I will see you guys next time for another edition of NoDQ&A video.